Brad, you're so freaking insecure sometimes. You think, like, Brad, Tim Hurley, our visual engineer, Brad has this thing where you think Tim favors me. All right, yes, I do more visual things than you. I wear wacky clothes sometimes. I'll jump up in the studio sometimes. So a lot of our visual shots are of me. You don't have to take it personally. Tim, please favor Brad from now on.
Got a great shot of Brad.
Please get all the great shots of Brad. So, I mean, every email...
No, I know you don't, but Tim knows where his bread is buttered, and he feels...
It's not buttered.
He likes to get you focused. I mean, we just did a compilation. All of a sudden, Dave opens up this compilation. It was so insane.
I mean, everything with you.
Even Krista had to change.
You're always looking at things. Oh, Tim's favoring you.
That was very funny. Even you were laughing all the time.
Brad. Don't worry.
Mommy and Daddy, would you stop fighting?
Don't worry. Our whole staff likes you better than me. Okay, everyone at Gotham likes you better than me. So if Tim likes me better, okay.
That's
so Tim
it.
likes me
well,
better.
That comes as long as you
Some
come a
people
long
will like
way.
me
You
better.
said nobody likes nobody this. Right, I know it. It does make a very good couple.
The whole team likes you better. By the way, every single person that works for us.
Kevin wants to say something.
You know
Kevin.
we're on the air, right?
Yeah.
Please stop fighting.
Kevin wants to. I heard Kevin breathing. This is what I hear in the background. I hear Kevin go.
Nah, you don't hear. It's because I got a good mic. That's why.
Yeah.
I do great.
And a great radio voice.
By the way, is our next guest ready?
She is.
She okay? Let's patch her in.
All right.
We have Ricky. Are you there?
I'm here, David. Hello, Brad.
Good morning.
We have the great Ricky Kleeman. I'll tell you, Ricky Kleeman, she basically invented court TV. She's been a legal correspondent and a legal analyst for years and years. You could see her on NBC, ABC. She comments on every big criminal case in this country. She's an incredible criminal defense attorney.
And what a great time to have her. I mean, on this show. First of all, it's our inaugural show from our new studio. But more so, thank you very much, Kevin. Oh, wow. You know what? The crowd is getting bigger out there, Dave.
Big.
I mean, there's a lot
Ricky, by the way, this is like the Today Show. We have like a street studio. We have a window.
People
we have
pressing their face against the window, and it's insane. But you know what, Ricky? It's great to have you because there's so many interesting cases going on. We have the Casey Anthony case. We have our New York case with Strauss-Kahn and the bail reduction, and where we're going with that. So why don't you just kick?
Well, we're not going with that.
Exactly. Why don't you pick one? Let's just go with it. Everybody knows about these two cases.
All right, let's talk about Dominic Strauss-Kahn first. What's your take on what's going on, Ricky?
Casey's going away, going down the chute. The faster it goes down, the better. What we have to remember is that I don't care if there is DNA evidence. What happens in the case of sexual assault is that it is the word of the victim, and only the word of the victim, that makes any case worth prosecuting. You can shore it up by physical evidence. But here you have an alleged victim who has lied to a grand jury about the circumstances of the case, who lied in her application for political asylum to get into this country by making up a story that she had been gang raped. So she's already lied about being raped by some fictional other person or persons. You have a maid who has admitted to the DA's office that she has told a series of lies. And if you read today's papers, it's getting worse and worse and worse. We have to remember that this is a woman who got into this country under false pretenses. So this is a case that the DA's office has got to, I say, get rid of quickly. Yeah. It is no longer fair to Dominic Strauss-Kahn to even have the charges hanging over him.
I agree, Ricky. I think this is game over. But what I'm interested in, and originally I was defending the DA because I took the standpoint that the DA's job is to investigate the facts of the case, and now that as the facts are unfolding, certainly this new evidence about the credibility of this alleged victim is so suspect that the DA did the right thing. He went into court, presented the evidence to the judge, and the judge exonerated all the bail conditions. But now it seems like there was a fight within the DA's office as to whether or not to bring the charges against Dominic Strauss-Kahn in the first place. If they knew...
I've kept up on my reading and on my sourcing this weekend, and I have felt that District Attorney Vance conducted himself at the highest level of ethics. That when he learned all of these factors about this complaining witness who we used to call a victim, so I'll call her an alleged victim, that as he learned these facts, that he put them into a letter and that he got them to the defense as soon as possible to reduce the bail conditions. He didn't have to do that.
Yep, that's true. That's true, Ricky.
And that was really fair and just.
Ricky, but
what you and I have looked at in the past couple of days is apparently that there were people in the office,
right,
particularly Lisa Friel, who was who was head of the sex crimes unit, who had said at the very beginning, let's not move so fast. I'm troubled with this woman's story. And now she has been asked to leave. That story will now take over the press as to what really happened there. We don't really know.
Yeah, but don't you think, though, that these controversial facts from the very beginning, the credibility of the witness was certainly looked at the highest levels of the DA's office, that Cy Vance knew about the credibility problems and that they still decided to arrest Strauss-Kahn before he left the country, and basically his whole life is now ruined just on these allegations alone that certainly look like that they're false allegations.
Look, Dave, one thing Ricky, before you jump in, they paraded this guy in front of the world in handcuffs. They made no bones about it, the DA's office and all those surrounding the DA's office, that this guy they had him dead to rights. And you know something? That's the bad part about our criminal justice system. And maybe Cy Vance himself, I think he had to come out with as aggressive backpedaling as he did because of all the powerful approach that he used when locking him up. And I'll tell you something. To any ordinary citizen, I say this. You must be angry at what's going on. There's an incredible witness, and we have a DA who paraded a well-renowned international figure through our court system, held without bail in prison until finally these incredible bail conditions were placed upon him, and putting him back into the city and into finding a place. He was rejected. His life may be ruined, and this DA needs to take ownership of that. Now,
well, I think he is taking ownership of that, Brad. You know, I am a fan of Cy Vance. I think that he means to do the right thing. The difficulty you have here is that old question. It goes all the way back to Watergate. What did he know, and when did he know it? And that's really the question. The fact that Lisa Friel or anyone else in the DA's office may not have really been so taken initially with this woman's statements, whereas everyone else in the sex crimes unit, in the DA's office, in the police department, everyone thought that this was the most believable witness, and then they have to investigate.
Oh, by the way,
Ricky, as you know, I was a former Brooklyn DA. Brad was a former Bronx DA. There's no way on a case like this that the DA would not be presented with all the facts, especially when there's a fight in the office. When there's a fight between two people. One is saying not to go forward with the charges because of the credibility issues, and that person was a very experienced DA. And then you have a less experienced DA saying to go forward with the charges. I find it hard to believe that Cy Vance wasn't on top of this case and didn't understand that there were major problems with the case.
I also want to remind everybody you're on with Gotham Talk Radio, and we have the renowned criminal defense and criminal analyst expert Ricky Kleeman on with us, and but just
let her answer that question. So then I want to go to Casey Anthony. Like, if it comes out that Cy Vance did know about this, I mean, what do you say about this prosecution and whether or not?
I think this is the problem, and
is
of
this
course,
the Duke
if I
case
were
over again?
The case, I'd, perhaps be arguing more fervently on your side, but because I'm looking at it up the middle, you had a man of means Hopkins, who was about to leave the country, albeit legitimately, but in the eyes of probably the police and the investigators, including the people against running after him, that he appeared to be fleeing the country. He was going to France. We would never have gotten him back from France. And so they moved, obviously now, with hindsight, too quickly. However, if they had not moved and it turned out that he had gone to France and that the pervasive view was that the alleged victim was credible, then they'd be faulted the other way.
Okay,
but I hear you loud and clear,
we
Brad.
have three minutes, Ricky. We want to get to Casey Anthony. Okay, give us your quick analysis on the Casey Anthony case. What's going to happen in closing arguments today?
Closing arguments happening even as we speak. The case will go to the jury very likely this afternoon. You have the prosecution argues first, defense second, prosecution sums it up. The prosecution's whole theory of the case is that it's easy to be a parent when you're playing with your child. But it's not so easy to be a parent when it's about sacrifice, time, and your life becomes the life of that child. And that this was a clash of Casey Anthony wanting to be young and free and go partying, and Casey Anthony having this little child that was going to stop her from doing it. So she lied for 31 days before she ever reported the child missing when she had no alternative. Prosecutor Ashton's closing argument, I must say this morning, was one of the most brilliant closing arguments I have ever watched.
Ricky, he's done with it already?
He's in it, and then the defense will go forward. Then the prosecution will have the last word. The jurors will get the case. And we don't know how much time they will deliberate to get a verdict. They're sequestered. They are interested in doing justice, but they're interested in going home.
Ricky, what arguments does Baez have left in him for this closing argument? What does he need to do?
In terms of the prosecution?
No, in terms of the defense attorney, Jose Baez. What does he need to do in his?
I just couldn't hear.
Yeah, because we have an incompetent engineer. I'm sorry about that.
The defense attorney has got to be in reasonable doubt. The defense attorney, as the two of you well know, for God's sake, you've tried so many cases. You're great lawyers. You understand how this works. The defense attorney could have opened and simply shown that we don't know where the child died, when the child died. We don't know any of this. The government can't prove this. And then we can show that the government science may either be flawed or at least there's reasonable doubt about the science. So it was just as easy to be an accident, could have happened at any time. No way to tie it up to Casey Anthony. The problem is the defense opened many, many weeks ago and gave its own theory of the case and took upon itself a burden of proof which they do not have in the real law, but they created for themselves by saying they were going to show it was an accident, that the child drowned, that the grandfather, George Anthony, found the child, accused Casey, then protected Casey, and that George dumped the body like trash. And why didn't Casey say something for 31 days? Well, because George, her own father, the grandfather of the child, had molested Casey throughout her childhood, and that Casey learned how to tell lies. Well, they proved up nothing.
Yeah, I know, but the defense made a tough decision in their opening statement. Maybe they expected to be able to have more proof or more evidence in the defense case.
Come on,
but I think he did an interesting.
They made a dumb mistake.
I agree, Ricky.
They had a very interesting approach. They pulled the old shotgun, scattergun,
right, I call it the buffet theory. By just throwing a little this, a little that.
Right, just throwing stuff, maybe make confusion, get one juror obviously to say, something. There's such lack of credibility in all this stuff that maybe maybe they just haven't proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But nevertheless,
I think the defense that the opening statement is the critical error in this case on the part of the defense.
Oh yeah,
because they created something for themselves that they needed to prove when they have no burden of proof. It's a fantastic story. Two stories: the sexual molestation plus the accidental drowning, and they have taken this poor grand grandfather, thrown him under the bus, and
Oh,
made
boy.
it run over him again.
Yeah, well, that guy needs some rehabilitation.
We
His
could
credibility.
we could
now
talk about
also.
this case for a long time. You are great, Ricky Kleeman. We have to go to a break, but we want to make you our official criminal law legal expert of Gotham Talk Radio. So enjoy the day, and
I'm
we're going
happy
to
to
get
be
you
with
back
you
on
two
real
guys
soon.
anytime, any place, anywhere, because you two really understand what life is about.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much. All right, Kevin, let's go right into the break. Don't play all the fancy music. Let's go right into the commercials. So we want to get John on.
New York is an unknown.